What up? It's the Real Ones. I'm Howard Beck, senior writer at The Ringer. And with me today, logging in from Miami, guy who gained 15 pounds of muscle this summer and really worked on his three-point shot and says this is definitely his year. It's Raja Bell. What's up, Raja?
Yo, what's up, H. Beck? Good to be back. I mean, you got one of those, right? I definitely gained 15 pounds. I don't know body composition wise. I'd be reluctant to say it's muscle, but it's good to be back. Preseason for me, so bear with me, guys.
Look, man, it's preseason. Media days are happening everywhere, which means the fucking cliches are just flying a mile a minute. Everybody gained 15 pounds of muscle or lost 15 pounds of non-muscle. Everybody's three-point shot looks great. Everybody's awesome. It's a great time in the NBA. Great to see you again. It's been I think 2 months, 3 months. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a long time since you or I were on the Riverside video screens together. Logan Murdoch, not here today, folks, but he will be back in a few more weeks, taking a little family time. He'll be back for the start of the season. And programming note number 2, Raj and I will be weekly on Fridays for the next couple of weeks until we get to right around opening week of the season and when Logan comes back. So, Raja, been a while. Summer highlights football camps, basketball camps, recruiting trips. I don't know, island getaways. What have I missed?
A little of all of that, Howard. Let's see. Let's quick recap. My oldest boy Dia won Elite 11.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Had aspired to do that since he was a first time he touched a football as a quarterback. So that was really cool to experience that with him.
Awesome.
Spent a lot of time on the road with my middle boy. It's his turn. He got to go to Curry Camp and Pangos and all of that stuff. He got the character award at Curry Camp, which was a really cool moment because Steph awarded it to him and was like, "That's really weird. I'm giving one of my teammates' sons." It was a pretty weird moment. It was pretty cool to see him on the court with Steph, and that was cool. Other than that, we did get to an island. We got away and hung out a little bit, and it's just been a whirlwind, man. You probably experienced this as your daughter got older and time was shrinking. It also then felt like it was going even faster.
Yeah,
and so that's what we're in right now.
Yeah, no, we just dropped my daughter back off at college to start her sophomore year a few weeks ago, and it's oh my God, it was shocking a year ago, and it's still it's a little less so each time you do the drop off, but it's still it's the blur and it's the emotions, and it's my daughter's like Dad, you can't cry when you drop me off now. You've already done this a couple of times. I'm gonna get emotional every time. Just fucking get used to it.
Time.
All right,
every single time. Yeah,
that's just what it is at this point. So the Curry thing must have been not just surreal, but is your son a huge Steph fan too? Was there any I don't know, starstruckness there going on at all? And character award is actually a pretty cool thing too, because we think of Steph as not just one of the greatest of all time, but one of the all-time good guys. So that's nice.
No, it was totally, he's definitely a huge Steph fan. He was a really little guy when I was out there, with Golden State for that amount of time. It was a really small camp, which was really cool. So it was 15 boys, 15 girls. My son Ty was probably one of the 4 youngest ones there. They're from all the different circuits. So you have EYBL kids, Adidas Gauntlet, it's just a selection of kids from any particular shoe circuit. But it was really cool because Steph is so hands-on at that camp. I mean, he is instructing in every drill. He's making his way around from court to court, station to station, really working. So, it was cool for my son, and I'm sure every other kid there, that they got real time with Steph. My son's shooting drills, and Steph's trainer is putting him through workouts, and Steph's rebounding for him or high-fiving him, and then he's hopping in the games with them. So, I thought it was just an awesome experience for every kid that was there. Mine especially because, he does know that I have a little background with Steph, and it was cool for all of us, I think, a little bit. But generally speaking, just a great experience for them.
Awesome. Love it, man.
Yeah.
So 2 months since we last did this thing on the Real Ones. The good news is nothing has happened. 2 months have gone by. Dennis Schroeder won a Eurobasket championship. Jonathan Kuminga still is unsigned. Speaking of Steph, who knows, that could happen while we're recording today. For all I know, I'll keep an eye on the iPhone alerts here. But Cam Thomas took the qualifier from the Nets and Josh Giddey reset, but nothing has happened. There was a Patrick Beverly, Trae Young thing. Like,
yeah, saw that.
Yeah. I have not bothered to watch or listen to all. Like, I can't bring myself to care. All due respect. Like Trae Young.
It actually kept me going for a few days, if I'm being honest. Like, it was, I mean, there was so little. It was something I was like, oh, look at this.
That's all we got. That's the NBA offseason. Up until a few days ago. We do have a few news items I thought we'd hit, and then we're gonna play a little game with some media day quotes here. But quick news hits. Fred VanVleet, like, that is significant. Not to make light of that at all. That is unfortunately the most significant thing that's happened here. I mean, Tyler Hero's got an injury. It's gonna keep him out for a bit. A couple other guys, but the Rockets were supposed to be, and may still be, a contender in the West. People, the debate was simply who's the bigger challenger to the Thunder, the Rockets or the Nuggets. Both had fantastic off seasons, and now here we are. Like, Fred VanVleet, not the best Rockets player by sheer talent, but maybe the most important. And there's no ready-made replacement there at the position.
Yeah.
It just absolutely sucks VanVleet out with the ACL. You expect that's going to be the whole season. I don't know. What do you make of this, Raja? Like, Zach Lowe and Bill covered this the other day. Was it on Bill's pod? I think it was on Bill's pod. The idea of like who they could go out and get, which I'll get into that in a second. But like, your initial reaction, is this a moment where you're already all in because you got Kevin Durant? Do you need to now go further all in to go get a VanVleet replacement? Do you wait it out because you've got a young core? Are you on Amen Thompson's timeline and Şengün's, or are you on KD's? Like, I just think it brings up some real operational issues.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating, right? First of all, like, devastating for them, for him, for that team. I thought they were positioned obviously really, really well with that combination of like really good young players and talent and legs, and then you bring in a piece like KD. But to your point, like, the most important thing outside of maybe like the Kevin Durant of it all is someone that can run it. Like, you need a conductor. You need someone that can really put all those instruments kind of into this tune that puts out this beautiful music, and that's going to hurt them. So to the question of do you go out, like, my immediate would be like, yes. I think that while you are trying to balance being on the younger players' timeline, Kevin Durant his window is open only for set amount of time, and I think you have to maximize that. Now, I'm not willing to trade. I'm not looking for the type of pieces that will require me to trade one of those nice young pieces. Do you know what I mean? Like, so maybe I'm going to go for, if Fred VanVleet is a B, maybe I'll take a C or something like that in terms of a grading for a PG. But I need someone with real experience. Could be long in the tooth maybe, and that's why I get him at a discount. I don't know, but I need someone who can run a show, Howard.
Yeah, and I think that's the difficulty, because obviously not only are we here in late September, but you traded two pretty good pieces in Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks to get KD. So that's a 2-for-1. So that was two starters or high rotation guys out to bring one 37-year-old, soon to be 37. Happy early birthday to Kevin Durant, by the way. Turns 37 on Monday. But you don't have a lot of other available pieces left. Now they have a shit ton of draft picks, including still some from Brooklyn, some from Phoenix. Like, they've got valuable stuff, Raja, and they've got contracts. When Bill and Zach were kicking this around on Bill's pod the other day, they were, there was flirting with do you go really cold-blooded here and like trade Fred VanVleet's contract because it's a big number and you need to send out a big number if you're going to get somebody who's more established. Bill's list of like potential replacements, stand-ins, were on the more modest side, right? It was like Ayo Dosunmu, Jose Alvarado, Scottie Pippen Jr., Peyton Pritchard, interesting one, TJ McConnell. I think that was his list. Zach went for more of like the bigger names. He was like, what about Austin Reeves? Not saying that the Lakers want to trade Austin Reeves, but hey, what about an Austin Reeves? Or I think he mentioned Jaden Ivey, Derek White, if you were really going all in. Colin Sexton was an intriguing one that they both talked about, because I think he's on an expiring, and market value isn't very high, so maybe you can get him for very little. But I'm with you. Like, you need someone. And I think if this had happened 2-3 months ago, maybe they would have been the ones to sign Malcolm Brogdon to a training camp contract. He ends up with the Knicks, where I assume he's going to stick. I don't know where else you go. Like, could they have made the deal for Lonzo Ball, who the Cavs picked up for not much, who'll be great? Like you needed, and I don't know if Lonzo Ball can handle starter minutes at this stage after everything he's gone through physically, but you need somebody, as you said, you need that orchestrator. You need the guy who's going to calm everybody down and get guys in the right positions, who's a natural leader out there. It's not just filling the spot. There's a role there on that team that was really important in terms of the presence that Fred VanVleet brought. So I don't know where they go here. The guy I would love to see plugged in, because everywhere he goes, they win a championship, and he's exactly what they need, but I don't think it's possible, would be Drew Holiday. And I don't know how much Drew's got left, and he's making north of 30, but he's with Portland. Like, aside from him tutoring your young guys and playing out the string, how much does Portland really need Drew Holiday? Like, they already rerouted him once before. So
how much? Yeah, I mean that'd be interesting when you say the Rockets have all those picks. Like, how enticing would that be for a team like Portland? Drew Holiday is the perfect kind of name for that, because I want to go back, because you said there was a real role to play. This isn't someone that's just filling minutes. And while we touched on the physical role, which is like, hey man, we're coming down and KD's hit a few, and it's my job to get offense. Let's get him another one, or we haven't got a touch over here. For Şengün, let's make sure I run something. There's the that of it, but there's also just this huge leadership void, if you will.
Yeah.
VanVleet meant a lot to them on the court in terms of that. And then, Dylan Brooks, for whatever he is or isn't as a physical player or an antagonist or what have you, like he is a leadership type of guy. Like, he's a culture type of guy, and you lost that too. And so, like, you very quickly are down two real leaders. And if we're being honest, as great as KD is, and we all love him, and we've talked about this on the pod, like, that's not usually what you think he's coming in to do, right? Like, to assume that part of it. And so, yeah, I think there's a real need for a name like that. I like some of those names better than others. I love Drew. I mean, Drew's like pie in the sky for me.
It's probably pie in the sky, and like, I'm looking up his contract as we're speaking, and he's making like 32 or whatever, and going up from there. And when you look at the Rockets and like movable contracts to try to get to that number, like it's almost impossible to, like, you'd have to put Fred VanVleet in the deal at his $25 million salary just to get even close, unless you're combining like Steven Adams and like,
what's Fred VanVleet, Howard, what's Fred VanVleet? He's like, how many years are on that?
It's 25 this year, according to Spot Track, and a player option, I believe, for the following season. And that's it. Also at 25.
I know it's I know it's tacky. I know how this is going to sound. I know how that looks. But like, time doesn't stop moving. You know what I mean? Like, and if you have a window of time, like 2 years, let's say, with Kevin Durant in the type of shape and form as a player that you could potentially do something. I mean, while it would suck and it might look tacky to fans, but like, you have to do something there.
Yeah. And I think Drew is an Ime Udoka kind of player, right? Like not even a question. And obviously, they've had some time together before too. So I just think that there aren't that many options, right? Like, I was trying to think of like other like older vets, guys who would have that kind of presence. And so like, CJ McCollum got, traded in that Jordan Poole deal to Washington. Again, Washington doesn't need CJ McCollum. I don't know if CJ's the exact right fit either. Doesn't bring, kind of the defensive side that Drew would. But I don't know. Is somebody in that vein? It's just that those guys have big numbers, and it's not that it's impossible to get to the number without VanVleet's contract. It's just that it's pretty likely. And then you're also having to decide, like, is Reed Shepherd part of one of these deals? Like, you could combine, like, just for the sake of argument, like Steven Adams, Reed Shepherd, and like one other guy could probably get you to like the Drew Holiday number. But like, is that too much? Are you giving up too much depth? And probably yes. But the flip side of this, Raja, and the reason I bring it up and why I think it's so fascinating, Durant is 37 on Monday. Again, he's 37 years old. Dude is still amazing. But when you made the trade for him, it was championship or bust immediately. And I don't know what the window is, a year, 2, 3, maybe. You probably got to think of more than 1 to 2. And if you don't have, the means to get a Fred VanVleet replacement and somebody who can do some of the things he did, I don't know what this season becomes. The West is really tough. They still might be a top 3 team for all I know. But Minnesota's right there and the Lakers are right there. The Clippers, I'm going to say it, are right there. There are some really good teams in the West. It is not going to be easy just based on... And plus, Durant's going to miss some time. We know he will. And you also don't want to burn him out in the regular season when you're trying to make a deep postseason run. So I just think it's really tough. There's a great segue here to the item that I had listed next. And producer Cliff was like trying to steal my thunder on this and get ahead of himself. But Cliff just did the what about Russ in the chat. We're getting to Russ, Cliff.
Yeah. See, I was
slow down.
I'm fully prepared. Hey, I'm just letting you know. All the weapons are in my bag right underneath the desk here. So
plus you're fresh, right? You've had 2 months just to get your conditioning going, everything else.
That's right. My wind is up. That's
your
right.
Your wind is up. You're ready to go full Russ Stan again. It's been a few months since you've had to defend his honor. He's still out there unsigned. We'll get to the unsigned part in a second, but how about, because I have thoughts, as you might imagine. Is he a Rockets fit?
No, he's not a Rockets fit. Listen, I love Russ. Everyone knows I love Russ.
Everybody listening to this podcast ever knows
he's not a Rockets fit. All right, Russ, I'm sorry. No, I think too combustible a locker room, if that makes sense. Now, maybe combustible is the wrong word.
Volatile?
Too much. It's too vulnerable a locker room. There's too much of a vacuum there in leadership for a personality like Russ to step in. And who knows what happens there. So I don't think you could absorb Russ necessarily with that team, if that makes sense. Like I just want to keep it a buck.
I also think that given Ime Udoka's profile and what he has forged this team into with a defensive personality, a defensive edge, Russ doesn't fit that. He definitely doesn't want guys stalling out with the ball as Jalen Green did. And Russ is not a good fit for that. Not to mention age, not to mention, the biggest thing, Russ and KD together? Producer Cliff, are you kidding me? I just don't see a big happy reunion between those two anytime soon or ever. Like when they're both retired, we'll get one of those fun, NBA TV specials or a 30 for 30 doc or who knows what. Like they'll yuck it up someday sitting on a porch with some lemonade, but I don't see that happening on a Rockets practice court.
Yeah, it's not happening on the team flight for Houston this year.
Yeah.
No, I owe you guys an apology. I mean, I don't know if are you done with that yet?
Go. I'm always up for an apology. So
I mean, you and Logan, is it an apology? I don't know did we bet something? We might have bet if you remember when Russ declined the option. I brought my behind on this pod and was like, he will definitely be on a roster. There's no way he declines that option without knowing that there's a market for him. I think is exactly what I said.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. I was wrong. So I apologize.
A fair assumption. We don't have to apologize for predictions or statements on this podcast. We all just, we're just all letting it fly.
No, but I was adamant though. I was like, you remember.
I do. Well, when it comes to Russ, when are you not adamant, Raja? I mean, that's just kind of just built in. Every year for the last few, because he's been on whatever it's been, 5 or 6 teams in the last 6 years, not to mention waived by Utah twice after trades. Sorry, that was gratuitous. Every time you wonder, all right, well, the Lakers had him and they decided it was time to move on. The Clippers had him, time to move on. And there are always some memorable moments and then there's always some regrettable ones. And here it is, the Nuggets have moved on. And I just don't know how many teams are left. The problem here is there are some teams that could really use Russ. And I mean this earnestly. There are young teams, especially where his work ethic, his passion, his drive, all that stuff that he brings, all the ferocity, all the things that everybody loves about Russ could be a real asset to maybe, I don't know, Charlotte Hornets or somebody where they're still in their formative years. But Russ is going to want to join. And from everything I've heard around the league, he wants to be on a contender. The problem is the contenders either don't need him or can't afford the downsides of Russ. And so that doesn't leave you with many options. And apparently as of September 25th, as we're recording here, it's left him with 0 options. And I don't know, barring another big injury somewhere, I don't know if that's going to change. So my guess is, a month from now, a little less than that when the season's opening, he's probably not on a roster. It doesn't mean it's over, but I don't think it looks great right now. Ben Simmons is the other one Michael Pena and I discussed last week, but different, right? Because like Simmons hasn't even really made an impact positively on a team in a while. Russ at least has had some moments where you see like, okay, there's still some value here.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. He's this happens. We covered it when it's not the exact same situation as Melo when Melo was kind of aging a bit, and you got to have a little bit of self-awareness as to who you are, like whether the ball is still yours. Melo had to figure out like, hey, I'm gonna, Melo had the advantage of being able to turn himself into a spot jump shooter a little bit. Like Russ hasn't really figured that part of it out yet, which made it in some regards even easier for Melo, even though he struggled with it. But what you also, and a lot of dudes, and I found this out the hard way, and a lot of guys who hang around a long time, what you were as a personality is worth it while you're doing a set amount of good things that contribute toward winning. When that equation changes and you don't recalibrate who you are and how you're acting and what comes along with you, in a locker room or in terms of a voice, it doesn't even have to be a negative voice. You just have to understand your place in the hierarchy in some of these places. And when you're, 10, 11, 12, even if it's a voice, like it's not always your place to be that voice, right? Yeah. And you got to read that room in a way that I don't think Russ has read very well. Because there are things on the court that don't fit every situation. But I agree with you. There are situations where Russ, could be okay. I just don't think he's read the room well in terms of like, hey man, I don't command the same level of like attention, or I don't have the same voice that people are going to be listening to as I did when I was the guy. And that's hard for people to come to grips with. And
everything that I heard out of Denver from multiple people starting last season and then again over the summer as I was checking in about where Russ might land, what's the market, all this stuff. It's the lack of self-awareness on both things. It's the fact that he's a really big voice and personality, but doesn't have, the all-star caliber game to go with it anymore. So you're diminished a little there, but also still carrying himself on the court like the guy he was when he was 25. And no, the world and the offense does not revolve around you anymore. Mm-hmm. And so that's one part of it that's really tough. I was curious about this, and then we'll move on from this particular topic. But like different career arc for you, Raja. But like everybody comes to that moment at some point where it's like either your body's breaking down or you've lost a half a step or whatever it may be, and you're having to like come to grips with, is it over yet? Can I get another year? Can I just tack on one more? How hard is that? What do you think Russ is going through mentally? Like he's a different player, again, much different resume, but you come to the same, at the end, you guys are all even at that point, right? Yeah. You're all somebody who had a really gratifying career and you'd really like it to continue if possible. But I imagine emotionally, this is incredibly tough.
Oh, this is hard. This is heartbreaking. Cause like you've worked and just trusted and believed that the work you put into it is going to produce the outcome that you're used to seeing. And that doesn't have to be like all-star level, but like I'm an NBA player. I'm a pro because I've worked my tail off since I was 11 years old in pursuit of this. And this is what we do. And this is the outcome we get. And I'm going to be back on that jet and I'm going to be in that locker room and things are going to be the way they're supposed to be until they're not. Now that hurts. That stings. That's embarrassing. Like there's a lot that goes on with that. You're answering a lot of questions, at least I was, about like, how come you're not on a roster? Hey man, what's going on? Like, and that happens for a while. And then what happened with me, Howard, if I'm being honest, was the more time I spent around my kids in that time of year that I didn't normally get to be around them. I wasn't the drop-off guy at school when they were little. I was at practice. My wife did that. Like I wasn't the guy that got up, and was able to pick them up and take them to practice. Like we were usually on a plane, going somewhere else. Those were calls I got from my wife saying, hey, you should see him at but now I was doing it. And, I got one call and my route was a little different. And I'll get into this too. Like it was from San Antonio where I could have potentially, I'm like, I don't want to do that shit. Like I'm not willing to do that. Now, the way I was going to have to go about it because of the way I came into the league was a route I was not interested in going down anymore. Like I didn't want to go through the whole, hey, just come to training camp. hey man, like we'll let you. Like I was done with that shit. I had done that coming in 5 times, and I didn't want to do it anymore. Russ, because he didn't have to come in like that, might not rub him the wrong way if those opportunities exist. I don't know how much time he's got to spend with his family and if that's enough for him. But like my priorities had completely shifted. And I talk about that. Like I noticed that the year before in Utah, where I was like, I'd rather be at home.
So that helps, right? That helps, right? Because like
certainly helps.
You've got something else to look forward to. And in fact, a huge benefit by deciding it's time to walk away.
Yeah. Given all of that though, Howard, like if I contractually had another year, I would have went. Like if it wasn't a hassle, I would have went and played another year. Like but like, sometimes it forces you to realize like, hey man, what else is going on in my world? And is it more important? Maybe I've been overlooking that for a while.
Well, we know this much. There's no emotional struggle for you when it comes to being the drop-off guy now and the pickup guy, because you have a hard out today on the podcast to go pick up your kid from school. So we clearly we're not even at the level of the Utah Jazz on the Real One Spot at this point. You're just like, fuck it, man. I'm out. I got to go get my kids. See you guys.
Got to get them. I got like 3 months left of being able to pick him up from school with his brothers. And I'm going to everyone I could get to.
Hell yes. Amen. All right, so before we jump into some media day stuff, some quotes that I pulled, I actually did want to throw one other quick news item at you, which is that, listen, I know listeners, like we've all beaten the Kawhi Clipper story to death, but I just figured, like, out of just curiosity, Raja, did anybody ever offer you like free $40 million or so to plant some trees, or not even actually plant the trees and not show up for stuff or do anything? Which the serious version of is simply this: just you were in the league for a decade plus. There's always rumblings, there's always rumors, there's always speculation, there's always somebody taking a little less and people wondering. I don't know, anything from your day, and did the Kawhi thing surprise you in any way, or do you view this the way that a lot of people around the league do, which is like, yeah, of course this is happening. Not at that scale, but right. Yeah, of course there's something like this.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you, Howard, I think that I was always under the assumption that if they wanted to, they could figure out a way to,
sure,
to the degree that and the amounts that were reported, I could have never imagined to that. I always thought this was like, you got a buddy, family member, like we give him a job, there's stuff like that going on, but like not to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars.
No.
I never saw anything like that when I played or worked, but I assumed it happened. There were rumblings pre whatever collective bargaining agreement like really started like crossing those T's and dotting the I's of people getting like, car dealerships and things like that. Like that was back in the day though. You know?
There was always some stuff like that, but none of it was ever proven or came to light. It was always a suspicion and whispers, which,
right.
I don't know what to make of usually. It's a cynical league. It's a cynical world. But that one, we will come back to it, unfortunately, probably many times in the months to come. So media days, as I mentioned, started up earlier this week, especially the teams that are going overseas. They all got to start early, but we're gradually making our way through. It's a great time of year for stupid cliches. My buddy who goes by Stat Center on Blue Sky, I think he's still on the other site too. But he posted a bunch of them, like as in like, media day cliche bingo, basically. I added a few of my own. So we've got the gained or lost 15 pounds. Gained, it's always muscle. Lost, always fat. Put up 10,000 shots a day or whatever, stupid number. Worked on my 3. Coach is saying we're going to run more this year. Play up tempo. Coach is saying, our identity is going to be defense this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody who changed teams loves their new city, their new teammates, their new coach. That's the best fan bases in the world. Whatever role coach wants me to play, I'm good with it. There's that one.
No doubt.
If you're rehabbing from injury, I'm ahead of schedule. I'm looking good, feeling good. What was your favorite? How many of those did you check off? Did you get like fucking media day cliche bingo over the course of your career?
Oh, dude, I checked most of those boxes. Whatever. I have them all down. Whatever role, yeah, for sure.
How many of them were lies? How many of them were just
they were all said, I think, with good intent, like whether they worked out that way or not.
All right.
Like But like, yeah, towards the end of my career, it became about like, the funniest one was like 1 year when I came to Utah, the first year came to Utah, back to Utah. I had done a lot of work on my body and I felt really good. Like, and
best I've ever felt. There's another one. Yes.
Yeah. Best I ever felt. Right. I felt really good. I was like, I usually played at like 207, 208, like right, just under 210, but I was probably like 213. Like,
yeah.
But I felt good. Like I was physical. And that first year was just not very good.
Yeah.
And Kevin O'Connor, not that the second year was much better, but Kevin O'Connor was like, hey, whatever you did in our exit interview, whatever you did last summer clearly didn't work. So then I went back to the drawing board and I did CrossFit and I got really, really like lean. Wow. So I came in the next year probably at like 204, but like, or maybe 205, but like really lean. I changed my body comp and stuff like that. Yeah, I probably played slightly better for the amount of games I played, but probably not much better. But it was, at the end of it, you're throwing anything you can at the wall. Just see what sticks.
Just a clarification for the younger listeners, that would be Kevin O'Connor, former GM of the Jazz, not Kevin O'Connor, former Ringer colleague of ours. So, all right, so let's go there. We're going to play a little game here. I'm going to read a quote. You try to guess who it is.
Oh, shit.
And on the theme, here's the quote. I haven't felt like this since college. I can just walk in a gym and I feel good.
Zion Williamson.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Nicely done.
Good, he looks svelte. I mean, he
does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah. Like, listen, it all looks great, sounds great with Zion. He looks amazing. I don't doubt the optimism. I don't doubt that he probably is the best he's felt since college, except that sadly, we have heard that exact line from Zion, I think pretty much every year for the last few, including in 2022, when I went down to Fort Lauderdale for a day and spent time with Zion and his whole crew, his trainer, his dad, or stepfather. Like, he had just come back from that really rough season, coming back in great shape. And so it's hard. There is a little bit of a won't get fooled again feeling here, I think, certainly for Pelicans fans and for that organization.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us, where it's like, man, I hope this is it. I hope this is the best he's felt and the best he looks and the best shape he's been in. And it'll continue, because the whole trajectory of the Pelicans is different if that's the case. But yeah, it's really hard not to be jaded about it when it's a player who every year, either he doesn't stay in shape, comes in great shape, doesn't stay in shape, or gets hurt again. And some of that's in your control and some's not. I think the Pelicans feel like that's probably a mixed bag in terms of how much of that is Zion's responsibility.
Yeah. I really, it would be really interesting to be kind of a fly on the wall there, just to see, because there are two components of that. Well, there are more than two components, but there are two major components within that. It's your strength and conditioning and your training staff, right? It's your sports medicine team, and then it's how dedicated he is to participating in what they're asking him to do, if it's the right stuff that they're presenting him with. And then, the other part of that would be how dedicated he is to the nutritional part of it, the sleep part of it, the rest and recovery part of it. Right. And so, those things have to intersect like just perfectly for you to be LeBron James, let's say, to have that type of career, but like some people figure it out early and they're great with it. They got great examples and role models, like great vets. Some people don't get it for a while. Some people never get it. It'll be interesting to see if Zion has it or can ever get to the point where he has that preseason, the one that we're jaded about, and then he figures out how to lock in and carry that through a season, because, like, I think we'd all like to see that.
Willie Green, his coach, said, quote, when he's available, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And nobody can argue with that. But the second part of that quote was availability is going to be huge for him, which, like, that's the whole, that's his career in a nutshell right now. When available, one of the best in the NBA. Yeah. Is he going to be available? How often?
Tough.
I think, the interesting thing with the Pelicans, like, I think everybody's got them as a bottom 3, bottom 4 team in the West. And there's like some serious talent on the roster, but I don't know how these pieces fit. And even if you get a full season from Zion, whatever a full season means in 2025 terms, Jordan Poole, I guess, is going to be their opening night point guard. And then Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion, Missy, I guess, maybe at center. They brought in Kevon Looney. They drafted Derek Queen. Jose Alvarado's still around. DeJounte Murray still recovering somewhere in the wings. Like, can they get him back at some point? There's another guy who, if healthy, would be a nice target for the Rockets, but not soon.
That's a good name. Yeah.
Probably not soon enough.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of us are expecting miracles from the Pelicans, even if Zion, truly does have like a career year where he stays healthy. So
Yeah, I honestly, I think their year, like if you're behind closed doors in those executive offices, like, and you're talking about the year and what is a win for us this year, I don't think it has much to do with playoffs, win totals, and all. I think it has to do with like, can he stay healthy?
yeah.
And then let's take a look at these pieces. Like, let's figure out what we have.
Yeah. All right. Next quote. Quote, I hope that we win more games than we won last year, but the truth is, it's not going to be measured in wins and losses this year, but it is going to be measured in success. This is a tough one. Not here's
Pat
the here's,
Riley?
You're on the right track. Not a player. Not
a
Riley.
player. Dang it. Not Pat Riley. Coach in Utah?
No.
Danny Ainge?
It's an owner.
Oh, Matt Ishbia?
Your Phoenix Suns owner, Matt Ishbia.
I should have known that. What's wrong with it?
Well, I mean, the very fact that he's saying something that is kind of like muddled and strange and full of spin means it has to be. I mean, there are other owners who might do that too, but Ishbia speaks more than most of them, which I appreciate. Yeah. By the way, which reminds me, your pal Steve Nash hired as a senior advisor to Matt Ishbia. That can only be a good thing for a franchise that's had a lot of tumult and a lot of front office turnover and just change. And Raja, when's can Nash bring you in as like the assistant to the senior advisor? Like, when's that happening?
Yeah, I mean, well, he had told me that he was thinking about taking a job. I heard that he took the job through you guys in the chat last night. I didn't even see that.
Oh, really?
So as I'm getting in the car to buckle up, I will be sending the text, yo. just a yo. Yeah. Let's see where it goes. No, but he, what he did say before he this was prior to him getting the job. This was at some point when he was talking about maybe he had said that it just looked like it was kind of all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, and it's what we had kind of said on the pod, and I talk about all the time. Is like, yo, do we have a roadmap? Like, is there any plan from getting to A to Z, or are we just coming into the office every day throwing shit everywhere? And I think he alluded to that. I didn't say that verbatim, but he was like, look, there's so I think he will help out for sure in terms of vision. Steve's really good with that. Like, for whatever he was in Brooklyn or he wasn't sitting in that chair, he's really good at vision and laying out a plan to execute that. Yeah. Or at least helping out in that regard. That probably won't be his primary job, but I think he'll be an asset to them.
And look, I mentioned just the turnover, right? So James Jones, who had been an executive of the year, they had pushed him aside into some sort of consulting role. He subsequently left and took Joe Dumars' old role as effectively the czar of discipline for the NBA. So he's now here in New York. And Brian Gregory, whose name I have to look up, I think every time. I've never met the man, but he's now the GM of the Suns. After spending one entire year in James Jones's front office, but he's an Ishbia guy. I think Ishbia I saw more Ishbia quotes on social media yesterday than I saw Brian Gregory quotes. So I do think there may be too many cooks in the kitchen out there, but like adding Steve to that kitchen is undoubtedly a good thing. You need somebody who's kind of knows the league. I think Matt Ishbia has been way out over his skis as an owner his first few years here. That's clear. James Jones had a lot of experience, and now he's out. Brian Gregory has very little experience. So I hope for the Suns' sake and for your sake, Raja, to the extent that you still have a Suns rooting interest, that Steve brings some needed wisdom there. I do think so Ishbia says this quote, it's not going to be measured in wins and losses, but in success, which what the hell does that mean? So he followed up with... He followed up on Twitter after everybody was clowning him to clarify. He says, success is making our fans proud of our team and excited to watch every game. Success is getting better every day all season. Success is building a championship culture and identity. Okay, fine. I mean, but the guy just needs to be a little bit more straightforward. Like, I appreciate that he talks a lot. I appreciate that he is passionate. I appreciate that he is candid, but his candor is often spin candor. Because he says things like, and this was, he sat down with ESPN the other day, and on the Kevin Durant thing on the trade, he says, he just wasn't a fit for what we were doing going forward. Like, no, Kevin Durant wanted out. It's okay to just say, I made a huge freaking trade 3 seconds after I took ownership of the team. I gave away all of our assets. It didn't work out. And
it didn't work. That's all you need to say to that. That's all you really need to say to that. It did not work out.
He wasn't a fit. Kevin Durant's not a fit. Like, stop. Like, you don't have to spin everything.
Right.
And you build more credibility with the fans and the media by being honest about where your missteps were and being honest about bad situations. And you created a bad situation. And to your credit, whoever got in your ear finally and said, you got to undo this thing. You traded Durant, obviously not for nearly as much as what you traded to get him. You bought out Bradley Beal, or waived and stretched him. He's going to be on your books for years to come. Again, not great, but you recognized that you had hit a dead end.
Right.
But it's okay to say that. So anyway,
I agree. Could have just said like, we're going to be exciting. We're going to play hard. We're going to get these fans excited again.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And that's it. Just be straightforward. All right. Next quote. I literally sat there and cried for 2 hours because so many things ran through my mind. Damn, is my career over? Am I going to get traded? Are all my partners going to drop me? My basketball career flashed in front of my eyes. I'm in my prime. One of the best basketball players in the world. Maybe a giveaway. And it felt like it was all taken away.
Jayson Tatum?
That's Tatum. Yeah. I probably should have stopped before that last part of the quote. Because I was watching your expressions, Roger. You're like, huh, wait.
I could go a lot of places with that one.
Yeah, there are a lot. Yeah. That was Jayson Tatum to People magazine. Tatum really made the media rounds this week. I think he sat with ESPN. He sat with Sports Illustrated, my buddy Chris Mannix. He did a lot. He was definitely on a recovering from Achilles tour to discuss it all. What struck you? Yeah.
My bad. Because I was just remembering you guys were in the group. You sent or we in our group text. Someone sent him at the desk with the "I don't get enough credit," like like some quote like that.
You know what's funny about that one? Because I was all like, as I'm easily annoyed, as you guys know. I'm not getting enough credit thing, and so I was like, come on, Jayson Tatum, like you're perennially one of the top 5 in MVP voting, a zillion All NBA and All Star and everything else. So then I went to go look it up. You know who's really at fault for that quote and for it making Tatum look like he's the one saying I don't get credit? The guy who asked the question. Stephen A.
Set him right up there, huh?
He said, I'm not going to do a Stephen A impression. That would be annoying. But he said there's been an absence of appreciation for who you are. When they talk about superstars in the NBA, they don't talk about you like that. Which, all right, I'm sorry, bullshit. That's just not even true. But when you say that, of course, the player sitting in front of you on live TV is going to just kind of embrace that and run with the premise. But I don't think Tatum's quote was even it wasn't nearly as strong as what Stephen A said. So I'm going to give Tatum a pass on that one. He's never been like that. I don't think. Like, he's not somebody who's out there trying to like drum up, or I'm underappreciated. Like, I'm sure he's probably said it something at times. He didn't win Finals MVP or whatever. But no, I mean, the guy is widely, universally respected. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And I listen. I mean, the flashing before my eyes, really kind of hit me there. Like that when that injury, when you have an injury like that, and I know it sounds cliche, but like your mortality just flashes before your basketball mortality or your football mortality, whatever that is. I mean, in a nanosecond, it all just ran through your head. Like like an old movie, and they have the clips of like the old grainy, film. Like that shit's just flying through your head, and it's crazy how that happens like that. But it was good to see him. I saw him on some of the stuff. It was good to see him out and about and making the rounds.
And seemingly in good spirits, right? He seems like he's really in a good place mentally, in contrast to what he was talking about when he first went down, which understandable. Dr. Martin O'Malley, the orthopedist who did the surgery, in that same story in People magazine, said that his progress has been really impressive. That, quote, I don't think I've seen a person's calf look as strong as his. At 6 or 8 weeks, he was doing double heel rises. Awesome. And so, like, loss of strength is often the issue with an Achilles, he says, and he doesn't think that's going to be an issue for Tatum. I don't think we should expect Tatum or Tyrese Halliburton, and certainly not Dame Lillard, on the court at all this season. Tatum is doing the usual thing where it's like, I'm not planning on, I'm not ruling it out, I'm not whatever. And that's the right attitude to take, I think. But like, this is a lost season for the Celtics, and I'm very curious. Pina and I talked about this last week. I'm very curious to see what Jaylen Brown looks like as kind of the number one option for the time being. But like, you traded Drew Holiday away, and you traded Porzingis, and Horford's leaving to probably sign with the Warriors, and like, there's just not much there. Having Tatum come back at any point just seems foolish.
Yep.
And
pointless.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll see him, and I kind of hope we don't. All right, one quick funny quote. I'm super excited. I haven't had a good screen in 2 years.
Oh, I'm super excited. I haven't had a good screen. Steph Curry?
No.
He gets good screens though.
No.
I'm trying to think of someone who uses. Can you give me a hint? Is this like, would I be using a screen to come off shooting, or would I be using it on a ball screen?
To do whatever the hell he wants because he really likes having the ball in his hands and doing stuff with it.
All right. LaMelo Ball.
No.
No.
This would be Jordan Poole, in fact, because
Jordan Poole.
because he got traded to the Pelicans and then they signed Kevon Looney, and so
okay.
This is about his like little Warriors reunion with Looney.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because Steph was the beneficiary of some good Looney screens.
Oh yeah. But I haven't had a good screen in 2 years. Like, no, I'm sure you're feeling really great if you're a Wizards big. Right about now. Love Jordan Poole. Just saying his piece. That's great stuff.
Again, like that's on brand, but like, come on, man. Like, we're not thinking before we're like, what are we doing?
That's fine. I love it. Keep coming with it. All right, maybe we can squeeze 2 more quotes in here. Quote: I think if I came in here and preached how much I want to win and tried to take every dollar and make it difficult for the organization, I'd seem like a fraud, and that's not who I am. I want to win bad, and whatever it takes. I've got a good amount of money. I don't think a couple more M's, I guess that's millions, will change my life.
Jimmy Butler?
No.
Signed
an extension recently. One of these summer transactions that we just glossed right over.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges.
Noteworthy in part because when people started buzzing about cap circumvention and Kawhi, Mikal taking a little discount a year after Jalen Brunson signed early. Like in both cases, I think they both are just kind of like extended early. And so it's not like they gave up a ton, but they did give up some in the process. And of course, it's got everybody looking sideways at the Knicks because of the Knicks and because they'd already gotten caught tampering to get Jalen Brunson in the first place. But it's just, there's a cynicism there. And there are people around the league, Raja, including somebody I was having a very intense texting conversation with a couple days ago who's in the league, who was basically like just saying, like, this can't be right. And I was pushing back, not on behalf of the Knicks or Mikal Bridges, but just on this principle. I've been covering the league long enough to remember when, Karl Malone and Gary Payton go to the Lakers in tandem, both taking massive pay cuts. And they were toward the end of their careers, but they still could have both commanded huge salaries. And one took the mid-level, the other one took like the minimum to join the Lakers to try to win a title with Shaq and Kobe, because at that point they wanted a championship more than they wanted more money. The very first team I ever covered was the 97-98 Lakers, and Rick Fox had just gotten there. And Rick had turned down much more guaranteed money from, I think it was Cleveland at the time, and then turned down money again the next year. He was going year by year to earn his bird rights with the Lakers so that he'd eventually get it. But in the meantime, he was sacrificing. But Rick, he was all about like, I would rather win. I don't need to make the maximum. And this is when NBA player salaries were a fraction of what they are today. So my point to this person I was having this intense argument with who works in the league the other day was simply like, I get it. I understand the cynicism. I understand the suspicion. I also think that, there are players in this league still to this day who do want to win as much as they want to make the money. And I think I try to be careful about just assuming anything, because these guys make so much now. Like Mikal Bridges, I haven't looked up his career earnings, but I'm sure he's already cleared $100 million for his career. Yeah. So sacrificing, quote unquote, a few million, if it means being in a great situation with a team you love, in a city that you love, and a chance to win a title, I don't think that's a stretch. Or am I being naive?
No, I don't think you're being naive. Look, money is money. Some of us aren't in situations all the time where we can make those kind of calls. But given the opportunity, and I tried to, I do this all the time, but like my son Dia, right? Like he's going into an NIL situation, and we've been navigating it the last few years, and he's lucky in some regards that I was blessed to do what I do, but like he had already expressed not chasing the highest potential NIL situation. He wanted to go somewhere where he thought he fit, where his quality of life was going to be what he wanted it to be, where they had a chance to win. So like if 18-year-olds are on that wavelength already, some of them, like I don't think it's crazy to think somebody with $100 million would say, I'll give up a few of them to live in New York City and play with my buddies on a pretty damn good team. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. You don't necessarily have to have some under the table deal with like the bodega down the street or Katz's Deli or something, right? Like aside from that, just being in New York and being on the Knicks, like you're probably getting legit endorsements that are making up some of this anyway. So
there are more guys in the NBA that do that than you would than you would guess. And just because they sign a big deal at X destination doesn't mean there wasn't a better deal on the table at Y destination, and they said, I'd rather go to X. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we should be that jaded about it. I get it that in certain situations, and certainly like the Kawhi one is like, like it's like a bazillion alarm bells going off. But I don't think that every time a guy takes a few million less than what he could theoretically get, or a little less than the max, if it helps the team, it helps you too. To the extent that players in this league do want to win and would prefer to win. And maybe not all, by the way. There are plenty of guys in this league who will take the guaranteed money over the better playing situation or competitive situation. Or they'll take the opportunity to go have the ball in their hands more. There are other priorities, right? It's always balancing all these things. What city do you want to live in? Where's your family live? Where will if you're married, where will your family be happy? What are the schools like? There's all these different things. And I think there are trade-offs in every single one of these decisions contractually. And this is like Mikal Bridges got to go to a finals with the Suns and then spent a couple of really rough years with the Nets. He's playing, with his old college buddy Brunson. They're a team that's really well positioned to make it to the finals and that could have multiple bites at the apple the next few years. Like, why wouldn't you want to help? And especially in today's NBA where that second apron is so tough, to be a contender year in, year out for a 3 to 5 year run and be able to do it without having to sacrifice players and talent because of the cap issues, everybody
have to do that.
Yeah, the agents and the players and their agents are now going to have to bake that into these decisions. Yeah. Like, I know it sucks. I know it sucks to say that a player should have to sacrifice. The owners are billionaires. It's not about the luxury tax anymore. It's about the team being hamstrung and not being able to do anything else with the roster if they're up against the first or especially the second apron. So if you're cognizant of that, I think it's fair. So we have reached Raja Bell's heart out because he's the pickup guy now. He's got to go get the kids. We respect it. We are not as compelling as the Utah Jazz, and I don't have a spare mid-level contract to send him. So we will wrap it up there. Happy to be back with you, Raja. Happy to have Real Ones back. We will be back again next Friday, and I will see you then, sir. And thank you all for listening. We will see you then.